You used me! I screamed at my daughter Amanda in her driveway. My voice cracked, but I didn't care. 3 years, Amanda! 3 years I gave you everything, and you were planning to abandon me like trash. Michael, my son-in-law, stepped forward, his face red with rage. You're a selfish, bitter old woman. I'm holding the lawsuit papers, Michael, and the bank statements. My hands were shaking, but I didn't back down. So tell me again who's selfish. Amanda collapsed against the car, sobbing. My grandchildren were watching through the window, faces pressed to the glass. This was it. The moment 3 years of manipulation came crashing down. But before I tell you what happened here, if you think families should never take advantage of the elderly, hit that subscribe button right now. Now, would you have confronted them the way I did? Or would you have handled it differently? Drop your answer in the comments. Let me tell you how we got here. My name is Ari Russell, and I'm 73 years old. I woke up at 6 a.m. on Christmas Day, the way I always did. Harold and I used to wake up early together, make coffee, and watch the kids tear into their presents. But Harold had been gone 3 years by then. 3 long years of silence. This was supposed to be my first real Christmas with my family again, with Amanda, Michael, and my 2 grandchildren, Sophie and Jake. I'd been living with them for 3 years, and finally, I thought I had my family back. I walked downstairs that morning expecting chaos, wrapping paper everywhere, squealing children, the smell of cinnamon rolls I'd prepped the night before. Instead, I found silence. Complete, crushing silence. The living room was empty. The presents I'd stayed up until midnight wrapping were still under the tree, untouched. The bicycle for Jake with the big red bow, the art set Sophie had been begging for, all of it just sitting there. Their suitcases were gone. The car was gone. I grabbed my phone and called Amanda. Voicemail. I called again. Voicemail. I called Michael's phone. Straight to voicemail. Then I saw it. A note on the kitchen counter, written in Amanda's handwriting. Mum, we decided to take the kids to Hawaii for Christmas. You wouldn't have liked the long flight anyway. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Merry Christmas. Amanda. I read it once, then twice, then a third time. They left me. On Christmas morning. Without a word. Without even the decency to tell me to my face. My hands were shaking so badly I had to sit down at that kitchen table. They took my grandchildren to Hawaii. On Christmas Day. And left me alone in an empty house. You wouldn't have liked the long flight anyway. Like I was some fragile old woman who couldn't handle a plane ride. Like my feelings didn't matter. Like I didn't deserve to spend Christmas morning with my own grandchildren. I sat there staring at those wrapped presents under the tree, while they were probably landing in Hawaii, walking onto some beach, laughing and taking pictures. Without me. But this wasn't the first time they'd made me feel invisible, and what I was about to discover would explain everything. When Harold died 3 years ago, I was lost. We'd been married for 48 years. And then one day, he was just gone. Amanda called me every day those first few weeks. She cried with me. She held my hand at the funeral when my legs wouldn't stop shaking. Then, about 2 months after the funeral, she came to me with an idea. She sat across from me at my kitchen table, holding both of my hands. Mum, Michael and I have been talking. The kids are getting bigger. We need more space. And you're all alone in that big house. What if we found a place together? You could help with the kids. We'd have family dinners every night. You wouldn't be lonely anymore. It sounded like a lifeline. I was drowning in grief, and she was throwing me a rope. They found a beautiful 4-bedroom house in a nice neighborhood. But there was a problem. They were $80,000 short on the down payment. Amanda sat across from me again, holding my hand. Her eyes were red, like she'd been crying. "Mum, I hate to ask, but if you could help us with the down payment, we'd all be together. You'd never have to worry about being alone again." $80,000. That was money Harold and I had saved for decades. Money we'd planned to use for retirement. But Harold was gone. So I said yes. We moved in together. And at first, it was wonderful. I made breakfast for the kids every morning. I drove them to school. I helped with homework. Amanda would hug me and say, "Mum, I don't know what we'd do without you." I felt needed again, but slowly, things changed. The gratitude became an expectation. "Mum, can you watch the kids tonight?" "Mum, the utility bill is due." "Mum, we need new furniture." I paid the utilities. Every single month. I bought furniture. I even opened a savings account for Amanda. $40,000. All in my name, but for her. But over the last year, I started noticing things. Whispered conversations that stopped when I walked into a room. Amanda's tone is getting sharper. Michael is barely looking at me anymore. My sister Cheryl kept calling. "Airy, are they taking advantage of you?" But I didn't want to believe her. They were my family. Then one night in September, Michael snapped at me over dinner. I'd asked about their weekend plans, and he slammed his fork down. "Can't you see we're talking? God, you're always hovering." Amanda touched his arm, and he apologized immediately. But I saw something in his eyes. Something cold. Like I was a burden. That's when I started paying closer attention. If you think something suspicious was going on, hit that subscribe button, because what happens next will shock you. Now let me ask you this. If you noticed your family treating you differently, would you confront them immediately? Or would you wait and gather evidence first? Let me know in the comments. Then 2 months later in July, I overheard something that made my blood run cold. It was a Tuesday night in July, 6 months before Christmas. I'd gone to bed early with a headache. Around 10 p.m., I got up to get some water. As I walked past Amanda and Michael's bedroom, I heard voices. Angry voices. Michael was talking. "I'm tired of this, Amanda. She's costing us a fortune. Do you know how much elderly care costs? The medications, the doctor's visits. It's only going to get worse." My hand froze on the wall. Amanda's voice was quieter. "I know, but what am I supposed to do? She's my mother." "She's sitting on your inheritance. Your dad left her everything and she's just existing. We need that money for our future, for the kids' college funds, for our life." I couldn't breathe. Amanda spoke again. "She says Dad didn't leave much. The house sale, his life insurance, it mostly went to paying off their debts." Michael laughed. "And you believe her? She bought this furniture? She pays our utilities. She opened that account for you with $40,000. Where's that money coming from if not your dad's life insurance? She's hiding it from you." A long pause. Then Amanda. "You really think she'd lie to me?" "I think she's controlling you with guilt. And I'm done waiting. After the holidays, we take the kids and go to Hawaii for Christmas to make it look like a vacation. Then we will tell her we found a place there. Better schools, better opportunities. We're not coming back." Silence. Then Amanda's voice. "What about Mom? Michael, we can't just—" "We can and we will. The house is in our names. She has Social Security. She'll figure it out. We've been taking care of her for 3 years. We've more than earned whatever money your dad left." Another pause. Then Amanda, hesitant. "I don't know. Do you want to spend the rest of your life being her caretaker? Watching her get older, more expensive, more needy? Or do you want a life for our family?" Long silence. Then Amanda spoke, barely a whisper. Okay. Okay. My daughter said okay. I stood in that hallway for 20 minutes after their light went off. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I'd collapse. They weren't waiting for Harold's inheritance, because there wasn't one. When Harold got cancer, the medical bills ate through almost everything. The $80,000 I gave them? That was my money. Money I'd earned working night shifts as a nurse for 35 years. My retirement savings. The furniture? My money. The utilities? My money. That $40,000 account? My money. And they thought it was Harold's life insurance. They were planning to steal it all and disappear, to take my grandchildren to Hawaii and never come back. My own daughter said okay to abandoning me, but here's what they didn't know. I had 6 months to prepare, and I was going to use it every single day. I didn't sleep that night, not one single minute. I lay in my bed, staring at the ceiling, my heart racing, replaying that conversation over and over in my head. Okay. That one word kept echoing in my mind. By morning, I'd made a decision. If they wanted to play games with my money, I'd show them what a woman who raised a child on a nurse's salary while putting herself through night school could do. First thing that morning, I called my lawyer, a woman named Edna Lawson, who'd helped Harold and me with our estate planning years ago. I told her everything, every single word I'd overheard, the plan to abandon me, the lies about Harold's inheritance, all of it. She listened quietly. Then she said, "Ari, how much documentation do you have?" I had everything. Bank statements showing my $80,000 down payment contribution, receipts for every piece of furniture I'd bought, utility bills in my name that I'd been paying for 3 solid years, the savings account I'd opened for Amanda that was in my name, with me as the sole account holder. Edna smiled. I'll never forget that smile. You've been smart, smarter than they realize, and now we're still going to be smarter still. We spent the next 6 months building an airtight case. Here's what I discovered. The house was in Amanda and Michael's names, yes. But I had legal standing as a financial contributor. More importantly, I had proof of financial exploitation. They'd led me to believe we were building a family home together while secretly planning to steal my money and abandon me. Second, that $40,000 savings account? Legally mine, every single penny. I could withdraw it any time I wanted. Third, I started documenting everything. I went out and bought a small recording device. Every conversation where Michael complained about me costing too much, I recorded it. Every time Amanda cancelled plans with me at the last minute to accommodate Michael, I documented it with texts and emails. I kept everything. Edna helped me do 5 things. 1. I moved the majority of my remaining savings, another $35,000, to a separate account they didn't know about. I opened it at a completely different bank. They had no idea it existed. 2. I stopped paying the utilities in October. I just stopped. I let the bills pile up in their names. They didn't even notice because I'd always been the one handling the bills. They had no idea the power and water were about to be shut off. 3. I prepared a lawsuit for financial exploitation and fraudulent inducement. I had proof they'd convinced me to invest in a family home while planning to abandon me. Edna said it was one of the strongest cases she'd ever seen. 4. I filed for emergency grandparent visitation rights. I documented my concerns about their plans to relocate my grandchildren out of state without stable housing or clear income sources. 5. I recorded that conversation in their bedroom. I went back the next night with my device, and I asked loud questions from the hallway to get them talking again. "Amanda, are you awake? I thought I heard something." Michael's response came through crystal clear on my recorder. Jesus Christ, can't we have any privacy? Clear, recorded, provable. Then I waited. For 6 months, I played the part. I was a grateful mother, the helpful grandmother. I smiled when Amanda asked me to watch the kids. I made dinner. I did laundry. I said nothing about the unpaid utility bills piling up in the drawer. And I waited for them to make their move. Christmas morning, they finally did. And I was ready. After I found that note on the kitchen counter, I sat at that table for an hour, just sitting there, staring at the presents under the tree. The cinnamon rolls are going cold in the oven, the empty house around me. Then I picked up my phone and I made 5 calls. Call 1. Edna. They're gone. Execute everything. Call 2. The bank. I need to withdraw all funds from the account number ending in 4739. The savings account I'd opened for Amanda. I pulled out all $40,000 and transferred every penny to my secure account. Call 3. The utility companies. I'm Ari Russell. I've been paying bills at this address, but I'm no longer a resident. All future bills should go to the property owners, Amanda and Michael Bradford. Yes, I understand there are outstanding balances. That's their responsibility now. Call 4. My sister Cheryl. I need a place to stay. Can you come get me today? Call 5. A process server. I need papers delivered to this address on December 30th when they return from Hawaii. By the time Amanda and Michael landed in Hawaii on Christmas evening, here's what had happened. The lawsuit was filed. Financial exploitation of the elderly. Fraudulent inducement. I was suing for my $80,000 down payment contribution, 3 years of utility payments, furniture costs, and emotional damages. Total? $140,000. The $40,000 savings account? Emptied. Every single penny moved to my new account. The utilities? They'd been getting disconnection notices for 2 months. On December 27th, the power went off. Then the water on December 28th. I'd moved everything that mattered to me to Cheryl's house. My clothes, my photos of Harold, my grandmother's jewelry that I'd been planning to give to Sophie someday, the Christmas presents I'd bought for Sophie and Jake, and I'd filed for emergency grandparent visitation rights. I included my recordings of Michael's comments about abandoning me and all the evidence of their plan to relocate out of state. On December 28th, Amanda called me. I was at Cheryl's house, sitting in her guest room. I let it ring 3 times before I answered. Mum, what did you do? The bank says the account is empty. There's no power at the house. Mum, what is happening? I'd rehearsed this moment in my head for 6 months. Amanda, I woke up on Christmas morning alone. You took my grandchildren to Hawaii without telling me. You left me a note like I was an inconvenience. So I left too. Mom, you can't just... The money was mine, every penny. The $40,000 in that account. Mine. I opened it. I funded it. It was always in my name. I just let you think it was yours. But the house, the utilities. Mum, there's no power. I paid those bills for 3 years. I stopped 2 months ago. You didn't notice because you never cared how they got paid. Those bills are in your names now. Your responsibility. Her voice was shaking. Why would you do this? Because I heard you, Amanda. In July. I heard Michael tell you I was too expensive, that you should take the kids and leave me behind. And I heard you say okay. Silence. Complete, suffocating silence. Then I heard fumbling. Michael grabbed the phone. His breathing was harsh and angry. You conniving old bitch. You can't do this. That house is yours. Keep it. But the lawsuit papers you'll receive when you land are very real. I'm suing you for financial exploitation. I have bank statements, recordings, documentation of every lie you told me about building a family home together. You're insane. January 15th, court date. And Michael. I also filed for emergency visitation rights for my grandchildren. See you in court. Merry Christmas. I hung up. Amanda called back 17 times. I didn't answer once. If you think I did the right thing, hit that subscribe button right now because you need to see what happens next. Let me ask you something. If you were in my position, would you have taken your money back or would you have let them keep it? Drop your answer in the comments below. They landed on December 30th, 3 days early. I knew because Amanda had texted me. We're coming home. We need to talk, please. I didn't respond. Cheryl drove me to the house at 4 p.m. We parked across the street. I told her to wait in the car. If this gets bad, call the police. I waited until I saw their car pull into the driveway. The house was dark. Power was still off. They'd have to deal with that. I watched Michael get out first. His face was twisted with anger. Then Amanda stepped out. Her eyes were red and swollen. She'd been crying for 3 days straight, I could tell. Sophie and Jake tumbled out of the back seat. They looked confused and tired. That's when I got out of Cheryl's car and walked across the street. Amanda saw me first. Mum, I'm here to see my grandchildren. Sophie's face lit up. Grandma. She started running toward me. Michael stepped in front of her. Don't you dare. You don't get to see them after what you did. Something inside me snapped. What did I do? My voice came out louder than I intended. I could see neighbors' curtains twitching. What I did? You planned to steal my money and abandon me like garbage. You're a liar, Michael started. I heard you. I was screaming now. 3 years of swallowing my words. 3 years of being grateful. 3 years of pretending everything was fine. It all came pouring out. I heard you tell Amanda I was too expensive, that you needed my money. Money you thought was some inheritance from Harold, but it wasn't. It was my retirement savings. I worked night shifts as a nurse for 35 years. Amanda was sobbing. Mum, please. You used me. I turned to her. My voice cracked, but I didn't stop. 3 years, Amanda. 3 years I gave you everything. My money, my time, raising your children, and you were planning to abandon me like trash. Michael stepped forward. His face was red with rage. You're a selfish, bitter old woman who can't stand that her daughter has a life. I have recordings, Michael. I pulled my phone out. My hands were shaking, but I held it up. I have you on tape talking about how I'm too expensive and how you need to get rid of me. I have bank statements showing every penny I contributed to this house. I have the lawsuit papers right here. I pulled them from my purse. Financial exploitation of the elderly. Fraudulent inducement. I'm suing you for $140,000. Michael lunged forward. You can't. I already did. I stood my ground even though my legs were trembling. The court date is January 15th, and I filed for an emergency grandparent visitation because you're planning to relocate my grandchildren out of state without stable income or housing. That's a lie, Amanda shouted, but her voice was weak. Is it? I looked at her. Really looked at her. My daughter. The baby I'd rocked to sleep every night. The girl whose hand I held on her first day of school. The woman who'd sobbed in my arms when Harold died. You told me you were taking the kids to Hawaii for Christmas. You didn't mention you were planning to move there, permanently, without telling me. Amanda's face crumbled. How did you... I heard everything. That night in July. I heard Michael convince you to take the kids and disappear, and I heard you agree to it. Sophie started crying. Jake wrapped his arms around his mother's legs. This wasn't what I wanted. I didn't want them to see this, but they needed to know the truth. Amanda collapsed against the car, sobbing. I didn't know what to do. Michael said you were hiding money from me, Dad's inheritance, and that you wouldn't help us unless we forced your hand. There was no inheritance, I shouted. Your father and I lived paycheck to paycheck. When he got cancer, the medical bills took everything. The only money I have is what I saved, and I gave you $80,000 because I loved you. Michael's face was purple now. You are manipulative. Don't you dare. I stepped closer to him. I'm 73 years old, and I barely came up to his shoulder, but I didn't care. I gave you everything. I raised your children while you worked. I paid your bills. I bought your furniture. And you called me expensive. You said I was a burden. You are a burden, he screamed. Do you know what it costs to take care of an old person? You're only going to get worse. More medications, more doctor's visits, probably a nursing home eventually. So you decided to steal my money first. Make sure you get paid before I become too expensive. Silence. Amanda was staring at Michael like she'd never seen him before. Is that what this was about? You wanted her money. We wanted the money. Michael snapped at her. Don't pretend you weren't part of this. I thought we were helping her. Amanda's voice cracked. I thought Dad left her money and she was just being stubborn about sharing it. You said she was manipulating me with guilt. She was. I was grieving, I screamed. I had just lost my husband of 48 years, and you used that to manipulate me into giving you everything I had. Amanda slid down the side of the car until she was sitting on the driveway. Her head was in her hands. The kids were both crying now. I took a breath. I tried to steady my voice. You have a choice to make, Amanda. Both of you. You can fight me in court. You can try to prove you didn't exploit me. Good luck with the recordings and bank statements. Or what? Michael spit out. Or we figure out a way to do this that doesn't destroy these children. I looked at Sophie and Jake. I want to see my grandchildren. I want legal visitation. And Amanda, if you want any kind of relationship with me, you're going to have to decide if he, I pointed at Michael, is worth losing your mother over. Amanda looked up at me. Tears were streaming down her face. Then she looked at Michael. Then to her children. I want my mom back, she whispered. Michael's face contorted. If you choose her over me, then you'll make that choice for me, Amanda said. Her voice was stronger now. Won't you? That was 2 years ago. Amanda and Michael's divorce was finalized last month. Turns out, when you're facing a lawsuit for financial exploitation and your wife discovers you've been manipulating her for years, marriages don't survive. Amanda kept the house. She's working 2 jobs now to afford it. It's hard for her. She's exhausted all the time. But she's learning what it means to build something on her own. And slowly, we're rebuilding our relationship. It's not what it was before Harold died. But it's honest now. Sophie and Jake spend every Wednesday and every other weekend with me at Cheryl's house. We bake cookies. We watch movies. Last week, Sophie asked me to teach her to knit like I used to do with her mother when she was little. As for the lawsuit, Michael settled out of court. He paid me $95,000. Not everything I asked for, but enough. The other $45,000? I split it. Half went into trust funds for Sophie and Jake, accessible when they turn 25. The other half is mine, for the future I'm building. I'm 75 years old now. Harold used to say I was the toughest person he knew. It took losing almost everything to remember he was right. If you're watching this, and someone in your family is taking advantage of an elderly parent or grandparent, pay attention. We're not stupid, we're not helpless. And we definitely notice when gratitude turns into expectation. Respect isn't just for the young. We worked our whole lives. We earned our dignity. And if someone tries to take that from us, well, we might be old, but we're not weak. If this story resonated with you, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss another story like this. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever had to stand up to family members who were taking advantage of you? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience might help someone else find the courage to stand up for themselves.